The current shortage in power supply across the country has assumed a complex dimension and taken a toll on socio-economic life, particularly businesses. Giants in the business world are already feeling the heat, with telecommunication companies, hoteliers and other temporarily shutting down their services. Modern business ventures are also not spared the scourging of this anomaly. The situation is more compounded with the scarcity of premium motor spirit, otherwise known as petrol, and the astronomical rise in the price of diesel and aviation fuel. So much so that President Buhari had to apologize for the strain the shortage has placed on citizens and their businesses, but assures that relief is on the way, and a lot of people are hoping for that. Now, on this edition of Nigeria Today, we will be examining from deeper perspectives how the situation is affecting businesses across the country. Hello then, welcome here. We'll be back in just a moment. This is Nigeria Today on NTA News 24. I am Musbah and Wahab, and I've got with me in the studio to discuss this issue our power analyst, Mr. Kunle Kola Olubiyo. He is the President's Nigeria Consumer Protection Network and former member, Presidential Ad hoc Committee on Review of Electricity Tariff in Nigeria. Good to have you, Mr. Olubiyo.
It's my pleasure.
Right. Also, we have a player in the business industry who actually knows where the shoe pinches, Mr. Niyi Adesoye. Is a member Association of Professional Printers of Nigeria. Good to have you also.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Okay, let's get down on a deeper perspective, like we promised the viewer, about this situation we have at shortage of electricity power supply. We've had the national grid collapsing twice a day recently, and though the federal government promised that that has been restored. But Mr. Olubiyo, can we have a feel of how this is affecting or impacting the manufacturing sector, the businesses around the country?
Thank you very much. The manufacturing sector is a segment of the different classes of consumers, whether like he is representing those involved in printing businesses, and so many others. And so we've never had it so bad like this in the country, even before privatization. Attempt where we used to do 3,000 megawatts, and that 3,000 megawatts was consistent. But what we've had of late is just pure misalignment, mismatch, and regulatory gaps. You know, before now, when we used to have challenges of regulator, the Electricity Regulatory Commission, asking those at the downstream, the discos, giving them what they call NEC order, minimum remittance order of 20%. That means that if they get 100% delivery of power, they were given license to remit 20%, 30%. And looking at that, the fallout of what we are having now is accumulated result of the inability of the market to pay for those who have been dipping hands into their pocket to go and borrow money from banks, go to gas producers, produce for us. These are the GENCOs. You know, we don't have effective PPA signed with them, power purchase agreement, and the end result of this is that we are owing some debt. We asked them that beyond what we used to have in 2013, 3,000 megawatts, they should go and sign commitments with gas company. Please wrap up power, increase the quantum of power to 5,000. We've celebrated 5,800 peak generation. Wrap it up to 7,000 ready to peak, which they have done. In doing that, they have to invest in machines. They have to make some commitment. For example, now, if you want to take gas in the next 3 months, you don't just go to the shelf and pick it up. You have to make commitment, bankable instrument, whether letter of credit and what have you, 90 days. It is when it is when you offer that you know, those in gas business will take you serious. So they've done a lot. The Gencos upstream, you know, the legacy investors and other ones that came after them, Azura, they've done a lot to make sure that the power sector have been running, or you know, for a long time, since the past 8 years, but we've not been paying their bills, both for energy charges and capacity.
Okay, what do you think is responsible for that? Is it the lack of proper arrangements or agreements to the level that we are having a particular arm of this sector, Genco, holding the whole country to ransom?
I beg your pardon. The term holding may be too harsh on the Gencos.
All right.
In the sense that the president before now and now cannot be held responsible.
Okay.
In administrative law, there's what we call delegated power, you know, in administrative law. So there are different agencies that have been established with overheads like Ministry of Power. The Minister of Power is not expected to take charge of the day-to-day running of the power sector. There are regulators. You have NAC for safety and technical enforcement of rules. You have NEMSA. For the market, you have MBED. MBED came in as a buffer, as a safety valve. Originally, in 2013, in November to be specific, we went around on roadshow, different countries, to woo investors to invest in Nigeria. About 152 investors indicated interest, and they made offer for bidding. But when they look at our books, it's quite appalling that Nigerians, maybe by our mentality, we brought our individual mentality to corporate governance. We don't believe in black and white agreement.
Right.
We don't have respect for sanctity of contract.
Okay, so that's part of what
we don't have respect for enforceability of contract. Now, when the Gencos were to come on board, we did what they call MMM, Ponzi scheme, Yahoo package. We told them, please just sign this agreement, let things work. Because the investor, 152 in number that came, they discovered that the cost, return on investment and cost recovery was not there, and the fiscal discipline, the corporate governance and the culture was not there, so they pull out. Now some Nigerians, in their own wisdom, say, this is Nigeria, we cannot allow this country to be put to shame. Those with big pockets who have invested in banks and what have you, they came together and took the bull by the horn and invested in the upstream, that's generation. Now, initially, we agreed that we'll give them a partial risk guarantee. Partial risk guarantee is usually given by World Bank or African Development Bank. What it means is that we're going to guarantee the risk, that if there is an unexpected situation, they could just take that bankable instrument, approach the World Bank or African Development and get their money. There's another one we still call put call option agreement. You can pull out at any time, PCOA. All that, these are the things that we promised that we'll give them. We equally told them that, look, come. When it got to a point that we gave to Azura, there's an investor called Azura in Edo State, we give them all the instrument. We promised the investors, the legacy Gencos, and investors in the upstream that we're going to give them up to today.
That's not been refused. Done. Okay, Mr.
On the part of government, we have refused to play our own role.
If I understand you quite well now, what we're having is a situation of a breach of contract and a party not fulfilling its own bidding. Now, we will get back to you in just a moment. Let me quickly talk to Mr. Ni Adesoye. Let's hear from you. You are running businesses, particularly printing. How is the situation affecting you at the moment? Are you disappointing people already?
Yeah, thank you very much. We are a volume consumer of energy, and printing business has been facing a lot of setback since when we start experiencing this bad supply. And printing as it is a service. We render service, sure, and we use energy every time to do various business. And as you know, printing is mother of all industry. We have a lot of people that we employ and we cannot work full time because printing service has to be 24 hours. most of the job that we have are run under high duress, and without energy, it's very cumbersome. And running generator for 24 hours also have a negative impact on our equipment. So therefore, we are not able to meet up customers' demand. Most time we start work in the morning and want to shut down because the generator has to rest. And even when you are using generator for your equipment, it tends to have more heat because they cannot work at normal rates. So the bad supply has really affected our business, and even for some casual workers, they could not get any other extra income.
Okay, the power supply is affecting you now. We're also having a situation of fuel scarcity, particularly petrol. How are you managing this compounded situation?
In fact, the two issues are very big issue that is really affecting our profits, because most customers, before now, you might have discussed about the prices before you are being engaged. And sometimes when a customer comes, you start a preliminary stage of printing, because we have various stages. We have the pre-press, we have the press, and the post-press. The pre-press involves the planning, the design, the layout, where you have to go to the customer and go and come. That may take some days. Sometimes it takes weeks, depending on the volume of the job. And by the time you now want to commence and maybe buy raw material, the supplier will tell you that, oh, the cost of diesel have affected the cost of transportation. So therefore, without giving you a prior notice, he has to sell at the new rate. And you that have been engaged on the job cannot go back to the customer and say, oh, you have given me XYZ for this job, and you need to review it. And doing that, because of not enough job in the system, you tend to lose your customer to the next ready vendor that want to take up the services. So it's really biting on us seriously. In fact, many of my professional colleagues are complaining bitterly in reducing their staff strength, because you make little profits, you buy diesel at high rates, there is no enough supply of electricity, and in both ways it's affecting the productivity of our job.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Adesoye, for that submission. We'll get back to you in the course of this program. But we have to take a break now, and we'll come back in just a moment to talk about other issues that we have on ground on this.
This is NTA News 24 broadcasting from Abuja. You can watch us anywhere, anytime on the following platforms.
Start Times Channel 101, Freak TV Channel 703, GSTV Channel 419, and Go TV Channel 46.
For more information, log on to our website www.nta.ng or join us on our social media handles, Facebook at NTA News 24.
For comments, suggestions and inquiries, send an email to news24@nta.gov.ng or call us on the following numbers. NTA News 24, news and more news.
Thanks a lot for sticking around. This is still Nigeria Today on NTA News 24, and the power shortage impact on businesses is what we're looking at on this episode of the program. I have two gentlemen in the studio. Now let me come to you, Mr. Kunle-Kola Olubio. You talked about the breach of contract that we're having. A party is not fulfilling its own part of the bargain. Yet, people are paying for electricity, sometimes paying more than they are getting, according to what we've been hearing from people in the public. But yet, Genco here, that is generating this power, not getting payments. Can you reconcile this for us? Where is the missing link?
Thank you very much. What we have generally is technically a state of force majeure.
Right.
The operators have been declaring force majeure when there are crises or situation beyond their control, and haven't had a scenario like that, one would have expected that the regulator would have been proactive. I'm aware that I was a member of, like you said, a member of the Presidential Committee on Review of Electricity Tariff in August 2020. In 2013, I was a member of the National Technical Investigative Panel on Power System Collapses. The issue we've raised have not been addressed. There have been, federal government have been investing a lot on the transmission that is still within the purview of government. But they have been missing link. When we buy generators, big generators, they may not necessarily add value to the network. There are weaknesses, decadence of infrastructure, which was in our report in 2013. Decadence of infrastructure. There are simple SCADA. SCADA supposed to be taking care of information, the data on the network. When you lack data, simple SCADA, we don't have SCADA, not to talk of effective SCADA. We don't have the reactors. We don't have the system protective devices where we're supposed to have them. So when there's a power swing between the south and the north, automatically, because of the weakness of the infrastructure, we have system collapses. Going back to your point, now that we are not getting power, if you go to each transformer in your neighborhood, there are materials or items fixed to it like meter. That is telemetry. When you want to do collection for each energy that have been dispatched to different location, XY location, when you take out the meter customers that you are sure you are going to get almost 100% energy accountability, whatever that is left to a given area's allocation, you use the meter attached to the transformer. That is called telemetry. Now, we've been wondering, in 2020, there was capping of electricity bill. Most places within the satellite area are supposed to pay like 2,500, 3,000. Between 2020 and now, go and check those unestimated billing. Now, we've not been getting supply from 2020, 2021 December to date. The last 4 months we've been having gas constraints. Technically, the generation company have been shutting down. But now, in spite of not getting that power, the bill of electricity consumer have been constant and keep increasing. It's not supposed to be. If there is accuracy, if the billing is scientific, those who don't have meters, from their transformer they are metered to give account. Somebody will come, just like they take your water reading, water meter reading. They'll come and see the energy flow that has come into that area.
Transformer,
to that transformer. So if the energy, if they are not there or forthcoming, why are electricity consumers not getting their, what they call the service reflected tariff or service-based tariff frozen? By now, we're supposed to be paying about 40% of what we used to pay, because in reality, we are not getting supply. But the feedback we are getting from customers is that in spite of non-availability of energy, the rate at which their bill have been growing have been astronomical. And that is where the regulator will expect that they will do the needful.
I was actually going to ask you, what will be the role of the Electricity Regulatory Commission? Have they been up and doing?
The regulator, now what we have at the moment is what we can call regulatory jumpolo. When the sailor of a ship jump the ship, or regulatory absenteeism, or regulatory subterfuge. The regulatory ecosystem is completely devoid of the right kind of leadership. It's not that the regulators don't know what to do. For example, now, for metering, you don't go to grocery and get the meter for them to meter. It's their commodity, and it's for cost recovery. So if we are paying for meter, which we are not supposed to pay, we're supposed to just take from the point load to our house and make payment for services. They are supposed to provide the meter for them to measure their energy and businesses. But when we pay, nobody's even talking of cost recovery, our investment. We buy transformer, nobody's even talking about that. So it's really, really saddening. And interestingly, even today, the president has secured a $50 million approval for gas supply agreement to Niger Delta Power Holding Company. The president have done a lot through cement, through World Bank. But to us as end user, where is the power? We want the power. And so regulator has a big role to play here in making sure that all this impunity that we're having and this thing. And one point I want to quickly add is that embed that we talk about, embed was not established to be chasing and to be doing debt collection. Embed is supposed to come when government could not offer the partial risk guarantee, be capitalized. Now, the discos, I mean, the GENCOs don't have direct bilateral contract with the discos. The person, the institution they have business with is Embed. Embed is the buyer from the GENCO. Embed is supposed to pay upfront or provide some collateral to say, okay, produce, so if they say, oh, produce 7,000 megawatts for us for next week, they'll make commitment. That has not been the case. That has not been the case. So the market is not whole. So,
okay, it's a situation of parties, agencies not playing their own role as it's supposed to be. And you ask the question, where's the power? The president also asks that same question at a time. And a lot of Nigerians are worried that where is the power that we are paying for? Now, Mr. Adesoye, you talked about it earlier. And when you explained, I felt your pains as regards what you pay and not getting, what you pay for and not getting regarding power supply, and of course paying huge amount of money again to get petrol or diesel, as the case may be. Now, what do you expect in a short while to assist your business like other business owners across the country?
Thank you very much. In fact, today in our association, which is ASPON, we've been deliberating on how can we come in and see some areas where the solution can come from. And we deliberated and find out that we have two peculiar problems right now. There is no fuel supply and there is no electricity supply. Which one can we hold? And we don't have any choice because the experts beside me here has more knowledge about how this power come to be.
Sure,
we are novice, we are service provider. All what we want is we want the power supply and pay for it. If there is no power supply, let there be a good price for diesel that will not affect our profits. Otherwise, we are the mother of all industry. We are going to drop out some of our staff and disengage them, and it will also increase a high level of risk to the government.
It will also increase the level of unemployment in the country. That's what you're driving at.
Because we cannot walk up to the time. We work 24 hours, but right now many of us are shut down after 10 hours and either send our casual workers away without money because they could not do extra work.
That's quite unfortunate and not what people expect. Now, let me ask you, Mr. Olubio, what do you think will be the way forward now? In just 1 minute, can you let us know?
A very quick one.
Right.
NNPC is a major stakeholders in the JVA and JVC with the IOCs, International Oil Companies. Sure. NNPC has 60% equity. Now, NNPC government, with the both step government have taken, NNPC should make gas available to NIPP, gas to power infrastructure that can, during the COVID, when a private businessman is mainly out to make money. During the COVID, the private generator shut down because the economy was below equilibrium. So gas should be made available. Like government, we had government providing 50 million. Gas should be made available to NIPP, and the eligible customer framework should be activated. Moving forward, I haven't stayed 9 years in the on the line in the privatization. For us as end users, we believe that government was hoodwinked, stampeded into some agreement, blindfolded and misled, misrepresented.
All right.
We want a review of the privatization exercise in its entirety, so that we look at the KPIs. How have we performed? We must tell ourselves the truth, and we cannot continue to shift goalposts, so that the issue of monopoly of TCN, we can onboard transmission infrastructure management, we can onboard the definition of monopoly of DISCO. DISCO, as it were now, is at variance with competitive electricity market, which is the essence of the privatization.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You're calling for a review, and so that Nigeria as a government can get value for the investment, and of course people, Nigerians too, must get value for what they are paying for in terms of electricity bills. And that note will end the show, Nigeria Today. The topic has been the power shortage impacts on businesses. We want to say a very big thank you to our guests who have given us perspectives into this. That's a power analyst, Mr. Kunle Kola Olubiyo, is the President Nigeria Consumer Protection Network and a former member, Presidential Adder Committee on Review of Electricity Tariff in Nigeria. Also, I had Mr. Niyi Adesoye, a member of Association of Professional Painters of Nigeria. Gentlemen, I say thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you.
And that has been Nigeria Today on NTA News 24. Thanks a lot for watching it. Remember, we also come tomorrow, same time. But you can also watch this edition and other ones on youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. Till we come your way again, remain blessed. I am Musbah and Wahab.